Hello comic fans, here's Earl Grey. Today I want to talk about these two series here, Sky Doll and Ekhö. Two series that I've started reading just recently. Both have in common that they were drawn by one guy called Alessandro Barbucci. This is a nice dragon's eye, don't you think? And here you have Mr. Barbucci along with Christophe Arleston, who wrote Ekhö, aka the Mirror World, Spiegelwelt. Sky Doll was actually written by a woman. You have her, Barbara Canepa. And this is the older story, but I started reading with Ekhö, these Barbucci comics with Ekhö, so let's start with this as well. It took me a while to try this series out, despite the recommendations of many comic aficionados over here. Yeah, because the genre, steampunkish, sci-fi, fantasy, is not my favorite blend of sci-fi, and even more when you flip to the first page or so, you get this over-cute style along with Disney-like stylings, very slick, very fine, very well-drawn, but usually not my cup of tea. But when I tried it out, at least, or at the latest, on this page here, the comic got me. It centers around this lady here and some kind of chance acquaintanceship of hers, this young dude here. Just by chance, they set side aside in this plane here when some magic stuff happened, and suddenly they are in this mirror world of Ekhö, in which there's no electricity and not the technical stuff that we are used to know or used to, but everything is dragon powered. So it's not really steampunk because they don't even know about steam machines, but they are very creative in using these dinosaurish dragon creatures. And there are a lot of them, and really half the fun is just to look at these creatures and how this world works of Ekhö. And these pages are filled up to the last corner with very imaginative inventions. Like you can see over here and almost everywhere. And this mirror world of Ekhö still feels living and breathing. It's not these empty spaces that you have in many sci-fi stories. Often with a good effect, but here it's the opposite. You have really the pulsating life in this parallel universe, and it's obviously modeled after New York here, and this is the theme, so to speak, of the first Ekhö book, New York, in which our two heroes have to deal with the rules and regulations of this new world, in which these tiny creatures here, these squirrel-like creatures, are the most powerful and, in a way, dangerous creatures. So actually this is pretty Grey related, because when they don't get enough tea, these cute little squirrel creatures turn into monsters, especially in situations of stress. So what do you have to do? You just have to inject some tea into these creatures, and they become, slowly but surely, the nice little squirrel fellas again. Here you have the proof that they are really important in this parallel New York here, or rather in the whole parallel world. So, and yeah, Our Lady here is actually somehow summoned into this world by the squirrel guys, because she inherits the amusement and entertainment business of her, if I'm not mistaken, her grand aunt or something like this. So we get a bit of cheesecake as well here, and which is okay in my book. But what really makes this comic sing to me is the imagination that is palpable on many pages here. So let's see, what can I show you? For an instance, of course, we have police dragons here, and a subway train. Pretty important for New York, I guess. So yeah, and a bit of bonus in the back with drawings and stuff like this to make this a real nice package, all in all, and highly recommended. Since the first album was a big success, at least over here, they continued after this Asterix model, like they did with Asterix decades ago. Take our heroes and send them out into different parts of this specific world here. For instance, in the second album, they are traveling to Paris. So we get the steampunkish or dragon-punkish version of Paris. This is obviously not Paris, but still there's a version of New York. But later on in the story, they arrived in Paris with their flying dragons. And a part of these stories in these albums is always a crime puzzle, because our main lady here, main character, has this strange ability, or let's say curse, to pick up the ghosts of beings that just died before. And then she behaves like these dead people. In one story, she is even a cat, or acts like a cat. And as troublesome as this actually is, it is a good way of finding out how this person or this cat or whatever died. And a bit like in iZombie. So yeah, interesting ideas that they meshed up here to this really nice cocktail of a story. And it's a breeze to read the stuff here, and it's really, yeah, easy reading material, and not deep at all or anything, but good comic fun. In the third album, they are sent out to Hollywood, in which we see some version of this parallel Marilyn Monroe and so on. And again, a bit of cheesecake and crime to solve and whatnot. This is album 4 of Ekhö, which plays obviously in Barcelona, or this parallel version of Barcelona, and this is the one in which she acts suddenly like a cat. And somehow I'm a bit suspicious that it's now enough Ekhö for me, because somehow these ideas feel a bit repetitive, as original as they are, but maybe I've just read these albums in too close to each other, so the similarities are a bit more prominent. Here we have some freakish Salvador Dali, which is obviously a good choice, and a little crime story and whatnot here. Pretty fun as well, of course. But I will take my time until I hop again on the Ekhö train, especially since this series goes way further here, as you can see. And no ending is in sight, seemingly. So, but as I said it, I did like the series well enough, and especially the art style of Barbucci grew on me, surprisingly. So I looked up what else is out there by this guy, and obviously Sky Doll is, and I think there's an English version of this, and even a thicker and maybe more price-worthy version, even though I like these slim hardcovers here. This is the German version by Splitter. The Ekhö one, as you can see, is also by Splitter. So, what's this here all about? This is really bonkers sci-fi. Very much a cute and candid version of the Jodorowsky universe. I mean, if you put a lot of sugar and Disney into Jodorowsky's usual mix of weirdness, probably you'll wind up with this kind of comic. The main character in Sky Doll is this mechanical puppet here. She works in a car wash. Her boss is likes to be called God, with this fake triangular halo above this head. So you have one theme in this series here, which is a pretty irreverent mocking of religion, and a real fun way, I have to say. We have these cutesy little creatures here. Fantastic artwork. I think, even though it's an earlier book of Barbucci, I like this art here a bit more, because these huge panels with these this bright coloring are really impressive, I think. Still this Disney animation-like style, but you can't help to say, wow. More than just once on each page, I think. Look at the stuff here. And when I mentioned Jodorowsky before, and of course the meta-barons and the style of Jimenez comes to mind here. not in the depiction of the characters, but the sceneries and the way of the coloring, for sure. By the way, the coloring in this book here is done, yeah, by Monsieur Barbucci himself, seems to, or Mrs. Canepa did the coloring. I don't know, but the colors are very interesting. By the way, not to forget the coloring in Ekhö, which is pretty okay as well. This was done by Nolwenn Le Breton. Oh, it's a fitting coloring for this comic here. So, and yeah, it's Disney, but with the more different sensibilities when it comes to religion, because here they really go to town with their mocking of religious cults. Or maybe you can see this as a critique at fake use of religion. I don't know, but we have this Madonna over here, and it's of course all Hollywoodish fake stuff, and some Jesus character. And in a second thread through the story, some normal dudes over here who are just some truckers who truck the space to transport stuff. They meet this doll who escaped her car wash boss, and so the story starts in a really interesting way, and I'm pretty sure that I will continue to read Sky Doll, and will tell you more about it when I know more about this really fascinating world of Sky Doll. Just by judging of the first album, which is a bit dangerous, I know, but just by judging of this first album, I would say and recommend to start with Sky Doll first, because it seems to be a really interesting sci-fi take. And if you like this, then continue with Ekhö, which is really a well-drawn, fun series. Thanks for listening and watching. Goodbye.